All right, let's go ahead and click on our 17.3 Work Together link, which is going to bring up an income statement for Tri-State Pipes, where we will be doing a horizontal analysis. We want to make sure that we round our percentage calculations to the nearest tenth of a percent. And it says to enter any negative amounts with a minus sign. I think that we'll have to look as we go through, but I think that they really want is it to be in parentheses, but we'll have to see. It'll turn red if we have it wrong, but let's go ahead and do our first one here for net sales. So you have to remember the first calculation that we have to do, which is taking our current year amount and subtracting our prior year amount. So when we do that, we end up with 17,280 and 72 cents. And that's a positive amount because our current year is greater than our prior year. Then the second calculation to get our percentage is that we take our increase-decrease amount and divide that by our prior year. So we take this 17,280 and divide by 642, and we end up with a percentage of 2.7%. So again, it ends up being like 0.0269, so just make sure that you round to the nearest tenth so you don't get that wrong. And so then we move down to our cost of merchandise sold, and we had 321,000, and our prior year was 301. So we take this minus this, and we end up with 19,190 and 93 cents. And when we take our increase-decrease amount divided by our prior year, we end up with a percentage of 6.4. Now let's look at our gross profit. This is going to be our first where we have a negative amount. So notice that our gross profit went down from our current year to our prior year. So when we take this, we're still going to do the 338 and subtract out 340. So what we're going to end up with is, maybe not. Maybe, okay, so let's put the negative in because I think it's going to put parentheses in for us automatically. So let's put in the negative, and then it turns out to be 19, 10, and 21 cents, or 1,910 and 21 cents. Okay, so notice that if we put the negative in, and when we tab over, it's going to put it in parentheses for us. So we do have to follow this enter negative amounts with a minus sign. Okay, so when we take our decrease amount of 1910 and divide by our prior year amount of 340, we get negative 0.6%. Go ahead and hit tab and it'll add in your parentheses for us. The next one we're going to do is our advertising expense. So again, we take our 24,000 minus the 23,000, and we end up with a increase amount of $1,831.21. And when we take our increase amount divided by our prior year, we end up with 7.9%. So pretty simple if you can remember the two equations that you have to do, or two calculations you have to do to get these. We'll scroll down and do our salary expense. Here again, we're going to have a decrease amount. Notice that in our current year, it's 92,000. In our prior year, it was 95. So when we take that, we're going to have a decrease amount of 2,995 and 12 cents. Then when we take our decrease amount and divide by our prior year, we end up with a negative percentage of 3.1. Looking at uncollectible accounts expense, we had a current year of 16,000, prior year of 12,000, so we take the difference between those two and we end up with 4,289 and 92 cents. And then when we take our increase amount and divide by our prior year, we end up with a percentage of 35.2. pretty big increase. And then our last one is our income from operations. Again, notice we're going to have a decrease here. Our current year is 140. Our prior year was 146. So when we take and do our calculation, subtracting those two, we're going to end up with negative 6,385 and 10 cents, which means we take our decrease amount divided by our prior year, and we end up with negative 4.4%. So this was doing horizontal on an income statement. You can do the exact same thing on a balance sheet. The calculation is the same, still taking current minus prior, getting your increase, decrease, and then dividing that by your prior year to get your percentage. So go ahead and do the 17.3 on your own, and good luck.